Warzone Rumble was added to Modern Warfare along with the Season 4 update, and I've got to say I absolutely love this mode. I think it offers some of the best potential for high streaks, improving your gameplay in general, as well as just mowing down countless enemies in total chaos. Now I know a lot of people don't share this opinion. I've seen numerous posts and players themselves criticise this mode for being nothing but a snipe fest, and that's absolutely true. But with the right approach, the right tactics and the right setup, you can turn this into a huge advantage for yourself. I promise you that there's nothing easier or more satisfying than wiping out dozens of snipers over and over again, and that's what this mode offers you. This video is going to be showing you how to come out on top in Warzone Rumble, how to win matches whilst dropping high kills each game. I'll be covering the tactics you can use, the ideal class setups, as well as various tips and tricks that will give you an advantage. Timestamps for each section of this video are in the description. So, first things first, what are the best tactics for dropping high kills in a mode dominated by snipers? The answer is to get up close and personal. If you can stay out of sight and take the campers by surprise, you're going to end up picking up countless kills without even being shot at. The best way of accomplishing this is to flank far and wide. If you go straight down the middle of the map, you're going to have 50 sniper glimps aiming right at you, and you probably won't make it very far. Instead, hop in any vehicle and follow the edge of the map towards enemy lines. A helicopter is obviously your best option, but any vehicle can work. The trick is to drive right to the edge of the mass of enemy players, then hop out and do the rest of your travelling on foot. Try to hop out in a covered area and make sure to stay on the move in order to get out of sight of any enemies who've been watching your vehicle. I would also say that you're better off not being directly under the enemy spawn area, as you'll end up with a mass of enemies parachuting in right on top of you if you're not careful. Once you've made this rotation successfully, you're going to be rewarded with the sight of hundreds of snipers all with their backs to you. Nearly every player in this game mode spends their entire match staring down a sniper scope. They're just not going to be paying any attention to their surroundings at all. The result is that all of these snipers who would desecrate you if you peeked out in the map centre turn into easy target practice. Make sure that you stay on the move once you're in this position, as you can be sure that players will eventually figure out that they're being shot in the back. It's important you watch the skies as well, as these enemies will be coming back at you from above. Weaving through cover, harassing multiple players is the way to get the most out of this technique. If you try and hold an area, you'll just end up getting rushed by multiple enemies and all your hard work will be for nothing. It's all well and good outsmarting and outmaneuvering your enemies, but if you don't have the right class setup, then you're not going to be able to do a lot no matter how well you play. So, this next section is going to be covering the best class setup for this mode. The single most important part of every single class that you use in this mode is the tac insertion. I cannot stress enough just how useful this equipment will be for you in Rumble. There's nothing worse than flanking your enemies and getting picked off as soon as you get yourself into a good position. Sometimes you can't make the flank multiple times in a row, as enemies might just become wise to your tactics. The tac insertion prevents you from wasting time driving around the edges of the map and also offers you some extra security once you do reach a good spot. The best play to make is to fight behind enemy lines carefully until you've earned your tac insertion each life. This means you'll be able to continuously respawn in a strong position, without having to make a time-consuming and risky flank each life. Seriously, a tac insertion will save you a whole heap of hassle in this mode. As for the best weapons to use, a medium range assault rifle and sniper rifle will give you the best results. I personally run the CR56 AMAX and AX50 Overkill, but any combination can work. The maps in this mode are simply so vast that you're going to need a sniper rifle for picking off more distant targets. There's nothing worse than getting yourself into a strong position, but then not having the range to tackle all of the enemies that you see. Although you also want to be able to tackle enemies at shorter ranges with confidence, hence why I recommend running an assault rifle. SMGs and shotguns don't really have the range for a mode of this size, so I wouldn't advise using them. Obviously, this means using overkill for your perk too. For your other perks, I'd say scavenger is essential, as you'll need plenty of ammo for longer kill streaks, whilst also having amped in order to make switching between your weapons much faster. You don't need to worry about not running ghost either, as there's no kill streaks in this mode, so there aren't going to be any UAVs giving away your location. For attachments, the only essential one is a suppressor of some kind. There's no point using a tactical approach if you're just going to make a racket once you're behind enemy lines. Using a setup like this, with weapons designed to challenge enemies across the map, along with the ability to respawn behind enemy lines, will give you a huge advantage. You'll be able to make the most out of your strong position by dropping every enemy that you can see, whilst preserving that advantage for longer by respawning in an advantageous position. Throughout this video, I've thrown in tips and tricks that you can use to give yourself an edge over the enemy team. For this last bit of the video, I'm going to include some extra pointers that I think are important, but didn't quite fit in other parts of this guide. So, in no particular order. Try and change up your rotation each time you go to make one. If you keep going for the same route, enemies will pick you off repeatedly, as they'll expect your movements. Don't try and shoot players out of the air. Spawn protection means you can't damage an enemy until they cut their parachute or are on the ground, so don't waste your ammo. Deal with close enemies first, as these represent an immediate threat. You'll kill more enemies if you get rid of those that might actually shoot back at you. Prioritise your enemies and take a smart approach. Don't just spray and pray. Avoid open and exposed areas, as you can be sure there's plenty of snipers who will be watching it. Take a relaxed approach to this mode. There's so many enemies that you can't possibly keep track of everyone at once. You will get picked off and there will be more enemies than you can handle at times. This is just part of the mode, so don't get caught up in trying to be the ultimate one-man army. It's 50 versus 50 after all, not 1 versus 50. If you approach this mode right, it can be a great mode for racking up kills, progressing camos, going on long streaks and practicing your gunfights. You need to play tactically and smart if you want to have some success in Rumble, as the open map design means that reckless play gets punished by hundreds of sniper bullets. Staying out of sight until you're in a good position is what will really let you pick up kills with ease. Snipers are all but defenseless up close, so put yourself in a position to exploit this and you'll be in for an easy time. The key is to play smart and calculated. Don't be tempted to just run at enemies without thinking. Don't be one of those players either that just sits back and scopes with a sniper for the duration of the match. That playstyle is both boring and pointless, and you're never going to drop many kills doing it. I hope this video has helped you and that you can enjoy plenty of easy wins in Warzone Rumble as a result.